Intermediate final exam review. Okay, we're multiplying. A negative times a negative is a positive. When we multiply, we add those exponents. So x5 times x4 means you would write 5, write 4 more would be 9. Y times y squared, you would have y3. Okay, 12 divided by 4 is 3. If you have 13 on bottom and 9 on top, then 9 cancel, but there would still be 4 left over on the bottom. Oops, sorry, that's y. Okay, simplify inside. So 6 minus 1 would be 5. Now, the negative means to flip it, and the negative becomes positive. So this means 1 over times 1 over, 1 times 1, and then 5 plus 5. Remember, you can always write them out, list out. Okay, to solve, we're going to subtract. When you subtract, the symbol stays the same. Divide. When you divide by a positive, it stays the same. Less than 5 are numbers to the left. 5 is not less than 5, so it's not included. So we use a parentheses. When it goes to the left, those are our negative numbers. So we call that negative infinity to mean that it keeps going 0, negative, 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 keep going. And it ends at 5 with the parentheses. Okay, variables on both sides, subtract. Add 9. Divide. We're dividing by a positive, so that stays the same. Less than or equal to is to the left, or equal to says include, because negative 6 over 7 is equal to negative 6 over 7. So we start on the left, negative infinity to negative 6 over 7, with the bracket because of or equal to. Okay, solve, we're going to subtract. The symbol stays the same when you subtract. Now here's where it flips. Divide by negative. So that becomes less than or equal to 11. Less than or equal to is to the left and include with a bracket. Start on the left is negative infinity, and they stop at 11. Okay, distribute the 7. We want to get x on one side. It doesn't matter what you do. If you do the smaller, that's fine. subtract. Now, we want to rewrite that with x first. So negative 40 is less than x. X is bigger than negative 40. Greater than's to the right. It doesn't have the or equal to, so don't include, which uses a parentheses. So negative 40 to infinity. Okay, simplify. We'll factor first. That's a difference of squares on top, plus 2 minus 2. On the bottom, that's a trinomial with an understood 1. So multiply to 12 and add to 8 will be 6 and 2. Those divide out. So what we're left with is x minus 2, x plus 6. Okay, the next problem is multiplication, but they all have x squared. So that means they all need to be factored. Okay, they're all trinomials with a 1, so on all of those, we want to multiply and add. So multiply to 8, add to 9, minus 8, minus 1. Multiply to 30, add to negative 13, negative 10, negative 3. Top right, multiply to 6, add to negative 5. So that would be minus 2 and minus 3. And at the bottom, multiply to 11, add to negative 12, negative 11, negative 1. Okay, see what divides out. I've got x minus 3 and x minus 1. And what's left is your answer. Okay, here we are adding fractions, so we need the same denominator, which we can get by multiply. So our common denominator would be x times x minus 7. X times x minus 7. So on the left, it already had x, so we multiplied x minus 7. On the right, it already had x minus 7, so it needs a times x so that these denominators match. Okay, now we multiply the tops. 2 times x, 2 times minus 7, and 4 times x. Now we add like terms. 2x, 4x, and it's over our common denominator. Eleven is also subtraction, but these denominators factor. They factor because they have x squared. So this is x plus 4, x minus 4, because it's the difference of squares. On the right, we have a trinomial with a 1, x squared, so we want to multiply to the end, add to the middle. So 4 and 5. Okay, the common denominator has to have everything in it. So all the different things are x plus 4, x minus 4, and this x plus 1. All the different things have to be in there. Okay, whatever got multiplied in on each part, what you multiply into the bottom, you multiply into the top. So to go on the left, an x plus 1 got multiplied in. On the right, it already had 4 and 1, so the x plus 4 got multiplied in. Okay, we're making the denominators match. When you change a denominator, you're most likely timesing in a missing piece. So we're going to distribute the x, distribute this minus 8, so we get minus 8x. The negative times the negative equals positive. So we get x squared. The 1x minus 8x is minus 7x. And it's over the common denominator. Okay, then we started working on radicals. First, we want to multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 96. That would give x squared from the x times x. And we have y times y squared would be y to the third. Now we want to break these down into things that we can take the square root of. 96 came from 24 times 4. Actually, let's do that on the side. 96 is 24 times 4. 4 goes into 24, so 24 is 4 times 6. Okay, so the 24 is 4 times 6 times this other 4. So we can see, since we have two 4s, 4 times 4 is 16. So we can see that 96 is 16 times 6. I want to break it down like that because 16 is a square root. Now that y cubed is odd, so it needs to be y squared times y. Okay, what can we take the square root of? The square root of 16 equals 4. The square root of x squared is x. Square root of y squared is y. Okay, because x times x, x squared. Y times y, y squared. What's left over is 6y. Thirteen is to take the square root of a fraction, which means we take the square root of each of them. The square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 9 is 3. And we take half of the exponents for this. The reason we do that is because x squared times x squared equals the x4. y4 times y4 equals the y8. Okay, multiplying, since both of these have two things, we're going to FOIL first. 4 times 3. Outside, 4 times 3 square root of 7. Inside, 3 times the square root of 7. Last, 1 square root of 7 times 3 square roots of 7 is 3 square roots of the 7 times the 7 inside equals 49. Like terms in the middle. The square root of 49 is 7. Okay. 3 times 7 is 21. And 12 plus 21 is 33. And we stop there because they're not like terms. Okay, here it says to rationalize the denominator, which means we're going to make the denominator be a whole number. What we do here is multiply by the opposite of the bottom. Okay, the opposite of minus is plus. So now we distribute the 4 on top. And 4 times 9, 4 times the square root of 6. On the denominator, we FOIL. 9 times 9. 9 times square root of 6. 9 times negative square root of 6. And last, negative times positive is negative. Square root of 6 times square root of 6 is square root of 36. Okay, they cancel in the middle, plus 9 minus 9. Square root of 36 is 6. On bottom, 81 minus 6 is 35. 75. I don't know why I said 35. The square root, 81 minus 6 is 75. Okay, number 16, graph. Okay, so we want to plug in. Always start with 0 because it's easy. 1/5 times 0 plus 2. Now you want to plug in the denominator now, since that's a fraction. What that does is make those 5's cancel, so 1 plus 2 is 3. 0, 2 means over 0, up 2. 5, 3, that means right 5, and up 3. And that's your graph. X equals 2 means all your points have 2 in for X. Y could be anything, so just choose some small numbers. This means right 2, up 0, and right 2, up 1. And that's your line. Okay, one more graph. And the first thing we want to do is rearrange it so y is by itself. I like to write x first. Okay, now we need to divide by negative 12. A positive divided by a negative is negative. 4 goes in a 4, 1. 4 and a 12, 3. and 12 divided by negative 12 is negative 1. So we get negative 1/3 x minus 1. Okay, we can plug in negative 1/3 times 0 minus 1. Okay, since the fraction has negative 1 over 3, we're going to plug in 3. That makes the 3's cancel. Minus 1 minus 1 minus 2. 0 minus 1 over 0 down 1. 3 negative 2 means right 3 and down 2. Okay, number 19 says factor out the GCF. Okay, 7 goes into both of those and they have x squared. 7 times x squared y would give me 7x4y, and 7x squared times 3 would give me 21x squared. This has to be the greatest, which equals all. Okay, you have to take out 7x squared for it to be correct. The rest of the problems all say factor. And what does that mean? Make a multiplication problem. I give you the answer. Okay, this is a trinomial with the understood 1. So multiply and add. So that would be 8 and 4. 8 times 4 and 8 plus 4. This is also a trinomial with an understood 1x squared. This time we want to multiply to a negative and add to positive 4. So that would be plus 6 minus 2, because 6 minus 2 is 4. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. Okay. On this problem, I think I did not mean for this problem to be like this. Okay, let's work it. I'll change it on the handout before I give it to you. So let's work this problem. X squared minus 4x minus 45. Okay, which would be negative 9 and positive 5. Okay, it should be x squared minus 4x minus 45. Okay, I'll fix it before I give you the handout though. Okay, why is that? Because it's negative 9 plus 5 is negative 4, and negative 9 times 5 is negative 45. Okay, 23, x squared minus 11x plus 18. Still a trinomial with a 1. We want to multiply to 18 and add to negative 11. So that would be minus 9 minus 2 would add to negative 11, and negative 9 times negative 2 is positive 18. Okay, this is a difference of squares. 8x times 8x would equal 64x squared. minus 9 is plus 3 minus 3. Okay, on number 25, this does not break down because of the plus. Even though 9 is 3 times 3, that has to have the subtraction to break down. So on that one, that is prime when it has the plus with the squares. When you have a binomial, which means 2, when you have squares, which is something times itself, if you have plus, that is prime. And that's the end of our review.